Yes, I will. And I'm glad you describe her as a character. So I play Joanna Hoffman, who did really exist. She was a real woman, but she's very much the character of Joanna Hoffman in the film, because Aaron Sorkin fiddles with the truth a little bit, and he extends the period of time for which she worked for Steve Jobs. So I will tell you, in the film, she is very much his work wife and his confidant. She is a Polish-Armenian woman who moved to America as a teenager, was a trained archaeologist, found herself working at Apple, and he made her head of marketing for the Macintosh. And she stayed in his working life throughout the time that the film covers, which is 14 years. She was very, very strong. She also had a warmth to her, so she sort of brings out a side in Steve Jobs that I think people often assume doesn't exist, actually, and certainly don't get to see. So I felt very much my responsibility as the person playing this role was that the audience needs to be able to access that warmer, slightly more humane side of Steve Jobs that we get to see in flashes throughout the story. And Joanna, she really did challenge him on things that she didn't believe he was doing correctly or behaving badly. She would absolutely pull him to one side. I mean, there's a line she actually says to him, "Are you being nice?" at the beginning of Act 2, because she just knows that most of the time, in very tense moments, it's hard for him to do that. So she was his moral compass, and yes, very much his wingman, I suppose. I did, yes. Yeah, I did. Spent quite a bit of time with the real Joanna, yeah. Joanna, she was very willing to sit and chat with me because she's a very open, very warm person. But we were very careful, the two of us, and we decided very early on that we would talk about Joanna Hoffman, the character, very much in the third person. Right. Because whilst I wanted to honour the relationship that she had with Steve, I wanted to capture who she was as well, and the essence of her and how she sounds. This Polish-Armenian woman who actually grew up in a Russian-speaking family. Try doing that dialect. Yeah. I wanted to tick all of those boxes, but at the same time, it was very much a character that I was asked to play, and so there were things that I could invent as well. She was just very generous with her stories about Steve, and actually really quite touching. It was really touching to hear some of the things she had to say for him. She had huge respect for him, and they did have a mutual understanding and strong affection for each other as friends. And I would say that the majority of her relationship with Steve was actually a very strong, profound friendship. Yeah, I mean, I think, I think that's true of Steve, or certainly how he's portrayed in the film is, and also in the novel written by Walter Isaacson, which I did read. You do see those really extreme sides of Steve Jobs, and that yes, on the one hand he's occasionally absolutely a monster, and at other times he he has capacity to listen to Joanna, at least, and to reflect on his behaviour, and towards the end of the film admit, he says, "I'm poorly made," to his daughter Lisa. And I think it's, what is so clever about the film is that it does allow the audience, I think, to see every side of him. Yeah. But it isn't a biopic, and that's what I love about it too. It really isn't a biopic. So it is different in that regard, and very unique in the way that this story is told, and it's constructed. It is these three acts, 84, 88, and 98, and it does focus on 45 minutes of real time backstage, and the intensity that comes with that level of environment and pressure. Danny Boyle directed this film, and he had such incredible vision, really, and all of those, not just for us as actors to feel so included, which we really were. It was a very collaborative effort, but he really had the ability to create that feeling that you talk about, that sense that these were techie, rock stars, absolutely, and they had the ability to make audiences scream and wail and do the Mexican wave 1,000 times over without seemingly getting bored of it at all. And that's all Danny that created that sense of intensity and that sort of gigantic overwhelming excitement. And I think in 50 years' time, I think they'll still, someone like Steve Jobs will still be being heralded, probably even more so now with what they're doing with Apple and, every new product, end-to-end control. It's all Steve. That's his vision. That's his concept. That's his genius. So I was given an iPad as a gift by the producers of Mildred Pierce that I filmed for HBO, and that was only back in 2010. Okay. So, and I've only had an iPhone for the last 2 years, actually, 2.5 years. I had a BlackBerry before that, and then good old box standard mobile before that. Sure. But I do remember getting my first mobile phone, and it was the size of a brick. And I had that. It was yellow and black, and I was very proud of it, actually. And I had that when I got that when I was 20. One of the reasons why I wanted to be a part of this film, because I very much threw my hat into the ring at the time that the part remained uncast. I wanted to do it because of Michael, because I had such admiration for him as an actor. I really respected the choices that he made and the risks that he takes. I felt that he and I, in a way, we just have a similar attitude to acting, which is that if you don't take risks and you don't challenge yourself, what's the point kind of thing. So I think I sort of knew that we would get along, and we really did. So working with Michael and playing these characters together, it was really hard. It was really hard for both of us, particularly him, because, of course, he's on every single page of a 187-page script. And, I genuinely had this feeling, I wanted to feel... I think I'm like this anyway, as an actress, but... the two worlds kind of merged a little bit. Me, the actress, and Joanna Hoffman, the character, and the role that she plays in Steve's life. She really is his wingman, and I wanted to make myself that for Michael. I have to be honest with you, he didn't really need it. He was very self-sufficient. I've never seen an actor behave in such a professional manner, honestly, ever. I really have not. He was so prepared. He set the bar incredibly high for all of us as actors. He was 100% on point, lines learnt, ready to go. And we all had to follow suit. And it was really the only way to do it, to be honest, because we had all this dialogue, we had these big, fat, meaty scenes, and if you get something wrong, that's not just the other actor you're screwing up, it's the big burly guy who's carrying the Steadicam and he's been carrying it for 9 minutes of a 10-minute take. You don't want to get something wrong, it's just not fair. So the sense of really sticking together... I think was felt probably more keenly than ever before to me on this film, working alongside Michael. And honestly, I just felt I had to have his back. I really did. Just kind of gaze on him, really, and just watch him. And literally, it was like, okay, where's he at today? And it would feel, every day was different for him. Yeah. And I would have to, just kind of gauge where he was at that day and sort of fall in with however he was feeling and, depending on what the scene was. It was very much all about, working really around him. Cool. Yeah, it was such a privilege, It was such a privilege to be able to do that.